In a small town surrounded by rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a young woman named Sarah. Sarah was married to a man named Jack, and together they had twin babies, a boy and a girl named Tom and Lily. Sarah was a devoted mother who loved her children with all her heart, but lately she had begun to feel that something was not quite right with Jack. He seemed distant and preoccupied, and she often caught him staring off into the distance, lost in thought. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was something he was hiding from her. Sarah had always been a curious and independent person, and she was determined to find out what was going on. She had a nagging feeling that her husband was not taking proper care of their children, and she was worried that they might be in danger. She decided to set up a hidden camera in the living room, where Jack spent most of his time with the babies, to see what was really going on. For days, Sarah kept a close eye on the footage from the hidden camera, watching as Jack played with the twins, fed them, and put them to bed. At first, everything seemed normal, and she was relieved. But then, she noticed something strange. Jack seemed to be talking to someone who wasn't there, and he often looked over his shoulder as if he were being watched. Sarah was shocked and confused. Who was Jack talking to? And why did he seem so nervous? As Sarah watched the footage more closely, she began to see other things that made her feel uneasy. Jack seemed to be talking to the twins in a way that was almost hypnotic, and they would fall into a deep sleep as soon as he began to speak. He would then spend hours in the living room, sitting in the darkness and muttering to himself. Sarah was horrified. What was Jack doing to her babies, and why was he acting so strangely? Sarah was torn between her love for her husband and her fear for her children's safety. She didn't want to believe that Jack was capable of doing anything to harm their babies, but she couldn't ignore the strange things she had seen on the hidden camera. She decided to do some research, hoping to find some answers. What Sarah discovered was both shocking and terrifying. It turned out that Jack had been experiencing strange and unsettling symptoms for years. Symptoms that were similar to those of a rare and little-known condition called sleepwalking disorder. People with this condition would often walk or perform other actions while they were asleep, without any memory of what they had done. Sarah was horrified. Could it be possible that Jack was sleepwalking and that he was doing things to the babies that he couldn't remember? She felt guilty for not recognizing the signs earlier, but she was also grateful that she had taken the step to set up the hidden camera. She knew that she had to take action to protect her children, and she was determined to find a solution to the problem. Determined to get to the bottom of what was happening, Sarah confronted Jack with the footage she had captured on the hidden camera. At first, Jack was defensive and angry, denying that he had done anything wrong. But as Sarah showed him the footage, he became more and more agitated, eventually breaking down in tears and confessing that he had been sleepwalking. Jack told Sarah that he had been struggling with sleepwalking disorder for years, but he had been too afraid to tell anyone. He had been experiencing strange and unsettling symptoms, including walking and performing other actions while he was asleep, without any memory of what he had done. He was scared that he might harm the babies, and he didn't know what to do. Sarah was shocked and saddened by Jack's confession. She felt guilty for not recognizing the signs earlier, and she was also scared for the safety of her children. She was determined to find a solution to the problem, but she didn't know where to start. Sarah did some research on sleepwalking disorder and discovered that it was a complex condition that could be caused by a variety of factors, including sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety, and certain medications. She also learned that there were treatments available, including therapy, lifestyle changes, and medication, but that the most important thing was to create a safe environment for the sleepwalker. Sarah sat down with Jack and they talked about the situation. They agreed that they needed to work together to find a solution, and they made a plan to address the problem. Jack agreed to seek treatment for his sleepwalking disorder, and Sarah agreed to create a safe environment for him and the babies. They also agreed to be open and honest with each other, and to support each other every step of the way. Sarah's biggest concern was the safety of her babies, and she knew that she had to take action to protect them. She installed locks on the doors and windows to prevent Jack from wandering outside while he was asleep, and she made sure that he always slept on the couch instead of in a bed, where he might accidentally roll over and harm the twins. She also started to keep a close eye on Jack, checking on him throughout the night to make sure that he was okay. Despite the many challenges that lay ahead, Sarah remained optimistic and determined. She loved her husband and her children, and she was confident that they would find a way to overcome this problem together. As Sarah and Jack worked together to address the problem, they started to see positive changes. Jack began to receive treatment for his sleepwalking disorder, and he was making good progress. With the help of therapy, he was able to manage his stress and anxiety, and he started to sleep better at night. Sarah also made significant changes to their home and their lifestyle. She created a safe and calming environment for Jack and the babies, and she made sure that they all got enough sleep each night. She also started to implement positive habits and routines, such as regular exercise, healthy eating, and stress management techniques. As Jack's condition improved, Sarah began to feel more confident and hopeful. She was proud of the progress that Jack had made, and she was grateful for the support and love that he had shown her during this difficult time. One day, Sarah received the news that she had been hoping for. Jack's sleepwalking disorder was in remission. He had been free of symptoms for several weeks, and he was finally able to sleep peacefully through the night. Sarah was overjoyed and relieved, and she knew that they had finally overcome the problem. With the threat of Jack's sleepwalking disorder behind them, Sarah and Jack were able to focus on the future. They continued to work together to create a safe and happy environment for their family, and they enjoyed watching their twin babies grow and develop. Years went by, and Sarah and Jack's love for each other and their children only grew stronger. They never forgot the challenges that they had faced, but they were grateful for the journey that had brought them to where they were today. They were a family, and nothing could ever come between them. And so, Sarah and Jack lived happily ever after, with their twin babies by their side. Despite the many challenges that they faced, they always remained strong and determined, and they never gave up on each other or their love. They were a true testament to the power of love and perseverance, and they inspired others with their story of hope and resilience.